Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist, and the election is finally over. It's like a breath of fresh air. You want to stretch a little bit now that it's over. You're not getting any more text messages. You don't have to worry about your mail being blown up. The TV ads will actually be more catered to your likes and interests on what you're scrolling on Instagram and the internet, right? Whatever your algorithm is providing, it'll probably show better now that the candidates are out the way. And I get it. A lot of black women, a lot of women across the country are upset. Some are super excited. People are pointing fingers at Joe Biden, saying he should have dropped out the race. In all honesty, I feel that if she would have won last night, if Kamala Harris would have won the presidency last night, he would have gone down as one of the greatest white men in American history, to be the vice president to the former first black president, Barack Obama, and then helping the vice president, black woman, become the first female president. And he would have gotten all the praise and glory for what it is. But because it turned opposite, all of a sudden he should have dropped out the race earlier. And it's like, listen, to be honest, the Kamala Harris campaign for president was only like a 90-day probationary job, right? It wasn't expected. She didn't have an 18-month, 2-year runway. When she ran the last time through a primary, she didn't make it all the way through. She became a VP. And the American people maybe feel, well, not even that, the Democrats may feel, well, hey, we should open up the process now and had it. Well, would have changed if your messaging narrative wasn't the same? But in the same vein, the Biden campaign couldn't even answer to the fact of what's really happening in this economy.
Well, first of all, let me make it very clear that I intend to earn the vote of everyone, and I don't take anyone's vote for granted. And my highest priority as president will be to bring down the cost, because to that point, look, I know the cost of groceries is too high still. Everyone knows it. And so my plan includes what we're going to do in terms of taking on corporate price gouging and having the first ever national ban on corporate price gouging on groceries. My plan includes addressing the issue of affordable housing, including for first-time home buyers, giving them a $25,000 down payment assistance so they can just get their foot in the door.
See, I have to stop it there. As a new homeowner, I would almost be offended by that, because for my family having the due diligence to save and have a home now, you all of a sudden talking about giving a credit to new home owners. And it's like, I get it, but that's not helping solve the issue when I'm walking in the grocery store Wednesday morning, like I did this morning, like a lot of people did, and say, you know what, this isn't fixing what I'm seeing, right? Grocery price gouging, I don't even believe in when there's a war in Ukraine and Russia going on, and they control the fertilizer. And ever since this whole war has happened there, since they've attacked Kyiv, I believe it's called, all of a sudden the price of food has skyrocketed, from restaurants to DoorDash to wherever you need to buy whatever you need to sustain your family. And when you're talking about all these things from the stock market and everything else that's inflated and conflated into different issues, it doesn't speak to what I'm seeing to provide for my family. And that's what the result is of this. And it's not just to Joe Biden. It's not just to Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, President Biden. It's to the fact of Democrats. Democrats don't care about anybody else except Democrats. And they only talk to Democrats. And when they get into this siphon of Democrats and saying, hey, this is what we need to come out to vote, this is what we need from a perspective of engagement, from young black men to Hispanic men and white women and white men and everything else, you're not speaking to the issues they care about every day, right? For anybody worried about tariffs, they get it. Okay, cool. We'll have to end up eventually passing that off to the customers. There needs to be something with wages. You're talking about anything that's investment, and there's no separation between her campaign and the economy, or even her vision on what she would do to fix the issues, right? I don't feel people felt that the issues will be fixed this week, but they would at least have some hope to say, you know what, give it to the Republicans, give them the House, give them the Senate, give them everything they need to get it in place, because Democrats aren't talking to the main base of people who give a fuck, right? You're going to barbershops again at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when the average person is at work. If we're talking about rebuilding the Democrats as a party, as a whole, if there even a thought of that in certain places, you really have to get out of the narrative of trying to fix everybody and just fix what people actually care about, right? The main base of your voters care about Social Security and Medicaid. How many of them will be at the next presidential election, right? It's not on me saying it. It's on God's time, not mine. But even those younger voters, what are you saying to them? In an AI-generated world, in the streaming world, where you can sit here and have your own platform, you make a YouTube channel, you make any kind of channel or any kind of medium, you put yourself out there, you can create your own universe, right? Or community. It doesn't make sense while you're campaigning on issues that don't hit the pocketbook. For me, as a Democratic consultant, it's frustrating because I sit back and see you talking about all the hopes and dreams of a minority or a person of color or a Black woman or a Black man or somebody being in this elected position. But I hate to say it, you forget that in 2008, it wasn't just the hope and the vision. It was the economy. It was the pocketbook issues. People couldn't afford the increase in the butter and the milk and the eggs. And yes, Bernie Sanders was right, but Margaret Thatcher was right too. The first woman, female prime minister of Britain, the UK. Her upbringing let her know, from an aspect of selling these products to bakers and other people that use these services, that the increase of prices to the baker on eggs, flour, and milk are going to be transported over to the people. And when it's more for him to produce, guess what? The economy's hurting. But somebody's got to get those eggs. Somebody's got to get those cows. Somebody's got to chop that meat down. Somebody's got to be able to put this poultry or whatever it is into a store factory for somebody to sell. And guess what? If they don't have the right things they need from a fertilizer standpoint, from a nutrient standpoint to grow their product, guess what? They're going to feel it. And we've known about this for 2 or 3 years, and there's nothing that's been done to say, hey, here's what we're doing, because it's really the war in Russia and Ukraine. You think people are dumb enough not to Google it? We can be caught up in the exit polls and whatever the media's narrative is between CNN, Fox News, CBS, ABC, whatever, for the research they pay for that they want to produce, right? There's an aspect of saying when you want to rebuild this, you have to start with the foundation of what your base is. Your base are people who care about how they're going to provide for their family. And when you're not able to provide for your family, and Joe Biden was supposed to be a transitional president, everybody's pointing to that. But again, if she would have won last night, the whole narrative changes. The whole narrative from the Democratic side changes. And guess what? The Republicans on the other side saying, you know what? We got to get away from Trump because Trump has cost us America. But now they're sitting here saying, you know what? We have America now. This is what America wants. They want the possibility to put in 2 more Supreme Court justices. One of those could be a Black man. We're talking about Clarence Thomas getting replaced. Does he get replaced by Byron Donalds? I know Byron wants to be the next governor of Florida for what it is, but there needs to be an aspect of saying, okay, cool. How do we shape this entire conversation? And how do we really talk about the issues? And as a society of Black voters, how do we get away from listening to Roland Martin and Charlemagne and Plies and D.L. Hughley and other people? And it's not an attack on these brothers. It's great. But guess what? I don't see y'all in the Capitol when there needs to be a piece of legislation passed. Right? I've seen Magic Johnson come talk about issues that he's passionate about. I've seen Dan Marino come talk about issues he's passionate about, but I've never seen Plies in the Capitol. I've seen Al Sharpton and Ben Crump go outside and have press conferences in and out of the Capitol, but I've never seen them with a piece of legislation to say, hey, here's what the lawyers have came up with, and we worked together to actually come up with a solution for this. You don't see that. So why are we listening to brothers in their cars talking about politics? Like, think about it, honestly. Tyrese even talking about politics doesn't even make sense. Do you think I want to hear from a brother that was struggling from child support on who he was voting for? You and I don't have the same issues. You may be a millionaire that's struggling. I may be on the bus. We have two different lifestyles, my brother. I don't want to hear from you about who you plan on voting for. Just encourage me to vote. But guess what? Even from the aspect of that, there are people in this bubble, this small circle, lobbyists like myself who work in this cipher and say, you know what? Why are these people that don't even work in the process out here pushing the narrative on what the scare tactics are to go vote? I shouldn't be scared to vote. Project 2025, they're going to take away Department of Education, the abortion issue. Guess what? I completely understand, but you have to talk to the issue, because after I heard my son's first heartbeat, it was on my wife to make that decision. I understand that's a decision between her and God that I would have to live with. It's her body, her choice. That's my decision. That's our family. But at the same time, you have to realize that after that child is born, I need to worry about the diapers and the babies and everything. The daycare and everything else to provide for that child, right? So the scare tactics that we're putting out there, I completely get it. I'm not being naive to them, but I'm also being conscious of the fact of, okay, well, what are we saying to the people that didn't go to college, that went to a trade school? What debt are we relieving for them? You're talking about giving homeowners $25,000 for what? I understand that there's a need, but at the same time, you're not addressing the main issue. How can they even get a point to affording a $25,000 home, maybe an HOA, motherfucking liens on the house just in case you get behind on some dumb shit? Just think about this. This shit really happens. The cost of lawn maintenance, pest control, your damn pipe break. You can't call no landlord to fix it. You are the landlord. Can they afford that? If they don't have the money to do it, what is the purpose of giving them this opportunity? You have to talk to the brass tacks issues, the pocketbook issues. That's how Obama won. We got away from that. And for 16 years, Democrats have sat there and seen it. And it's like, you know what? Well, hey, we're just going to run a person of color or somebody tied to Obama, and we're going to make it work. And we're going to chastise all the brothers who decide to vote for their own kind of freedom. They say it was 15%, 20%, whatever it is, of black men voted for Donald Trump. You didn't think these brothers thought about their family? I even saw a young lady post that even for diehard Democrat Republicans, and I did report on this in the data, saying, you know what, they were voting for Kamala because she was black. They understood what it was, but they had a different perception on how they want to vote as a family. And it was only people who want to just put on and be put on and get social media clicks on why they were telling they were voting for Trump. That's okay. We live in a society where monetization is through your ability to hold people for conversation, your time on a YouTube channel, whatever it may be. But all that put together, when you look at why Kamala Harris lost, yes, you can look at race politics, you can look at the sexism, but when you look at the base of it, if she had an answer to the pocketbook issues, well, Miss Harris, what are you doing for groceries and inflation? It's an issue. That's what people worry about. Well, guess what? I want to work to bring bananas back to 19 cents, and here's my plan. Here's what we're going to do to get there. Here's specifically how we're going to cut the price of bread and eggs and milk and diapers. Right? Because it's not just the impact on the family, it's the impact on the daycare owners because they have to increase their prices. And guess what? You're not thinking about, okay, how do I balance this if I'm trying to balance my budget and protect my family from everybody who doesn't have it? Because people who have it, they're not struggling. Nobody's struggling. Nobody's putting a picture of their overdraft fee online. Right? Everybody's celebrating the wins. So while they're celebrating the wins, guess what? Let's celebrate the wins and understand that I need to provide for my family. And if you can give me a solution on how to do that, I'm going to get up and go vote for you. But you didn't want to do that. Not you, Madam President, Vice President, you, the Democrats, the consultants, the people, they say like the black consultants, why are you just telling them, or these white consultants are just telling them to go to the churches and talk to the HBCUs and the links and the AKAs and the Deltines and the conferences, and let's go down and talk to the Qs at the clave, right? It's not white consultants telling them that. White consultants are they don't even know. They're still saying, what are HBOOs, right? H because, right? FAMUs, and the rest of these shits. You hear it. It's from black consultants who shuck and jive to the Democrats and say, hey, this is what we need. We need a fish fry. We need to just go to the black church and talk to them on a Sunday because all the people in the black church, but these black pastors are pimps. Don't you see Bishop Paul Morton and the other bishop out of California beefing over their political decisions? And they're probably Republicans anyway, right? When you get down to it, I understand we get divisive, but as black people, we need better leaders in politics. We need people who understand. I'm not saying follow me because I've done it for 15 years. I'm saying that it's not just Angela Rye, because when you get down to it, okay, you ask yourself, you're giving me this advice, Charlamagne, you're giving me this advice, D.L. Hughley, but what legislation are you helping me write to pass? What strategy are you putting together to say, hey, if these are the supermajority Republican legislatures you have to work in, what can we get out of this? We passed a meme of Denzel Washington say, hey, I'm leaving here with something. Well, shit, I'm leaving here with something too. You talk about opportunity zones, gentrification in my community. How can we at least provide for the kids and the education and the resources and the roads and the jobs and everything that we need to make sure that when we provide for this community and we end up creating that narrative to say, hey, this is why you need to go vote. You end up seeing it. You got to have a transparent reason. There was 50% of black male Republicans voted. They outpaced damn females in some aspects, right? We reported on that. Check the channel, check the page. But at the same time, you have to realize this was a race where the Democrats realized your messaging that's strictly focused on transports, that's strictly focused on everything that's not dealing with pocketbook issues, that's what needs to change. And the sooner you all realize that, Hakeem Jeffries, the sooner you all realize that getting rid of Nancy Pelosi, the sooner you all realize that every Democrat in every elected position in the entire United States, when you realize that you're not talking to the issues people care about, that's when you'll start winning races again, right? In Florida, we have this lady they call Nikki Fried. She's a former agriculture commissioner, Democrat elected statewide, but she won damn near in a recount within less than 1% of the vote. And she decided to run the Democrats amok in the state of Florida. And guess what? She's just going to register voters. And she's going to lose in a primary to the former Republican governor trying to run for governor after she decided, like, this is all we need to do is have me as the governor of the state, not the legislature. She says, I'm going to run. And she couldn't even make it through a primary. But then she said, went to go tell the people, let's just go fucking vote. And I'm going to put $1 million in the voter registration. And guess what? The Republicans took over. They went up 1 million in votes, not even with the cash. They said, you know what? Hey, we're going to just outraise you. You up 750,000 votes. Guess what? We're going to raise you 1.25 million. And we're going to cut it in half right before the election. We're going to take a little lead. And guess what? We're going to take a whole lead right before these books close and right before we get to election day to let you know that you're not registering people if you're not talking to the issues everybody cares about. What happens is you have these Democratic leaders and these Democratic executive committees throughout the country. And they look at the precincts and they say, you know what, in DeKalb County and Cobb County, Georgia, and Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, and Duval County, Florida, we have 1,000 votes left in this precinct. But they'll say, no, we only have 400 Democrats left. We have 400 Democrats left to go get. And I'm like, well, shit, this is real consulting, real backdoor conversations. How really voters get chased. And I say to them, what do you mean we only have 500 voters left? There's 1,000 people in that precinct. Well, we're only focused on the Democrats. Bitch, everybody's voting. Do you not fucking realize everybody's voting? If everybody's voting, why the fuck am I only going to talk to Democrats? I need to talk to everybody about this opportunity I'm giving them to go vote for the candidate, for the opportunity, for the amendment, the fuck that I'm supporting. What are we even talking about? The Democrats are fucking dumb, okay? They focus on themselves in their own silo, and they're not talking to the issues everybody cares about. You're not saying, okay, what are the top fucking 5 issues of the independents? And let's take the 5 issues the independents care about, and okay, we could cut off transports. We could cut off this other shit. Let's cut off some of these other things, and let's mix in and blend in and say, you know what, damn, maybe this will help us tap into some of what the fuck the Republicans are saying. Because in the rural communities, they're struggling with the price of food. The farmers are struggling with the price of fertilizer. What the fuck are you providing as a solution? You can't go tell me some plan about giving people $25,000 in a grocery store gouging. Bitch, how? Kroger, Publix? What are you talking about? I'm going to pay what it is because I got to eat. But I need my ends to meet. Think about that, right? At the end of it, that's my 2 cents on why I feel the election turned out the way it is. Because if you're not talking about the economy during a tough recessional time, what are we even talking about? Did they not see the interest rate shoot up to like damn near 8-9% and it's slowly trickling down? You haven't seen the GameStop runs and the Dogecoin runs and the AMC runs and all the options trading that's been happening. People are trying to find a way to make money. Okay. People are trying to find a way to make, as they say, and they hustle online, the scammers say, generational wealth, right? They're trying to create that the best way they can. And if you're talking about student loans that they're not privy to, or you're talking about issues that they don't care about, and you're not talking about the issues that hit the pocketbook of what they can afford. If I can't go buy some wrap snacks tomorrow on Wednesday or Thursday, you think I'm gonna give a fuck about voting for you? That's what people said. Well, shit, Trump, I could walk in this bitch and get 5 wrap motherfucking snacks. I can get a pack of Lay's for 25 cents, maybe 50 cents. That bitch is damn near $1 for the baby pack. I went to go buy some M&Ms, but the motherfucking M&Ms were $3. I say, well, damn. I understand the cost of peanuts, but the farmers hitting it that bad? Yes, they got to, because guess what? They got to produce the food. Because if we didn't have the food, It would be like the ILA workers when they wanted to cripple everything. And you know what? That didn't happen. But instead of the farmers crippling us, they said, we're going to provide, but we're going to have to up that fee because it's more in the gas, it's more in the grain, it's more in everything we need to produce this. But we're not talking about that solution for everybody. We're just talking about grocery price gouging. Well, shit, that's not moving the needle. It clearly didn't move the needle for the American people. And that's why the Democrats need to get back if they ever want to come back. We need to talk about pocketbook issues. But guess what? Thank you. Checking out the video. Please make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Going to be doing some more election review, but before it gets played out before Thanksgiving. And then we're really going to get into, on this channel, the next steps after the election, right? I really feel that that's the biggest gap in the Black community and the urban culture as a whole, is having, not even saying experts, I'm not the only expert, but having a solution-based channel or community that's focused on not only Black issues, but issues in general, because there's ways to maximize all these opportunities. We just need to be knowledgeable about them. But every hair tech that's doing what they want to do is all good before the legislature decides that the shit's illegal. Like I heard earlier that you have hair techs giving people veneers. I'm probably going to get some Invisalign and straighten this up eventually, right? That's cool. But I'm not going to a hair tech to go put some damn white refrigerators in my damn mouth, okay? It's just one of those things. But either way, tap into the channel. I appreciate you for subscribing and hearing my 2 cents on the disappointing feeling of being a Democrat.